Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this morning's digital event, Build the Future, Ready Infrastructure. This event is brought to you by Sandz Solutions Philippines in partnership with Dell Technologies and VMware. Before we get started, my name is Jelay Fuertes. I am a sales director from Sandz Solutions Philippines, and I will be acting as your host and moderator for this morning session. Some house rules and reminders. This session is being recorded. To facilitate the event, we have temporarily placed all the participants on mute. However, if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them on the chat box or click on the raise hand button so we can call on you to ask your questions live after the speaker's presentation. You can also opt to send your questions to me directly or to any of the Zoom hosts within SATS. We also encourage everyone to stay until the end of the event. We have exciting quiz breaks throughout the session, so participants have a chance to win a special prize, not to mention the early bird announcements, and three raffle items are up for grabs at the end of the event. So why are we having this event? As you drive your businesses forward and look to maintain your competitive edge, modernization in every aspect becomes essential. It is likely that modernizing applications is high on your to do list. But with so many moving pieces and issues to consider, including massive amounts of information, multiple operating models, infrastructure silos, and increasing container usage, it can be difficult for IT to keep up. Today, we discuss how you can simplify and accelerate modern applications with Sandz, VMware, and Dell Technologies. We have experts on the call, starting off with the Professional Services Group Director of Sandz Solutions Philippines, Mr. Ken Shan. He has a decade-long experience in the industry and has strongly advocated in helping organizations transition towards a digital age. Good morning, Ken. How are you?
Morning, Jelay. I'm okay. Hope everything's okay on the side also. Morning, everyone.
Okay. Joining Ken is Mr. Bert.
Yeah. Hi. Morning,
Who is a
everyone.
part of Dell VMware Synergy team. Yes,
Yeah.
which helps customers understand and adapt VMware solutions. He is happy to share his experiences in cloud, blockchain, IoT, or even operations management with any interested customer. Hello, Bert. It's nice to see you today.
Yeah. Hi. Morning. Morning, Angela. Morning, everyone. I look forward to be sharing more with you later in this call. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Joining our lineup of experts is Mr. Justin Salvador. Justin began his IT career with Dell Technologies and has been with the company for 6 years. Currently, he is a systems engineer for data center and compute solutions, providing advice and designing on technology solutions by understanding their business IT needs. Also, he has experience with maintaining Dell Philippine Solution Center's servers, storage, and networking solutions, including Microsoft and VMware virtualization environments. Good morning, Justin. How are you?
Good morning, Jella. Good morning, everyone. Hope everyone has a great morning.
Okay. Well, I won't keep you guys any longer. Here's Kenshan to discuss how you can establish future-ready businesses through IT modernization. Go ahead, Ken.
Thank you, Jelay. Let me start recipe. All right. Can everyone see the one in the screen? Okay. So
Yes, Ken, we
good
do.
morning. Yeah. Okay. So good morning, everyone. So my name is Ken. I'm the Professional Services Director for Sandz Solutions. So today, just to kickstart and set a trend or the tone for this morning session, I'll be discussing how Sandz can help you future-proof your businesses through modernization. So I'll be having a quick discussion in terms of how we also in Sandz evolve and transform our businesses to be more relevant and pattern out all of the technology solutions that can complement each of the IT stack na pwede nyo acquire, right? Sige. So, I'd like to start off my presentation and my discussion this morning with a quick quote that I got online. No? I tried to search something about modernization trends, and I found one word that that allows me to keep going back and forth on it. It's relevance and transformation. So, according to Maurice Levy, we have to keep transforming ourselves to stay relevant for the future. Now, this struck me, no, kasi coming from the industry we're in, we sell and we try to complement a lot of technology stacks to our customers. We notice also that as a consulting industry, we also have to stay relevant in terms of all of this. So if no one knows Sandz before, Sandz is really an infrastructure shop. So we really do a lot of infrastructure, we do a lot of Dell EMC servers, etc. But a decade ago, we understood that we need to be able to set the tone and separate ourselves from the competition. Hence, we added a bit more functionalities. We added a bit more, business changes in terms of how we want to be able to do business and how to be able to interact with customers moving forward. So, at any point or at any organization, relevance has to be there. Transformation is will grow and transforming different layers, regardless of IT or process yan, allows us to be more relevant. Giving siguro an example, during the pandemic, if you notice, before we have to go, face to face to be able to have this session, to be able to have this webinar, even to have this, talk. But now we're maximizing technology to be able to communicate ourselves and address and translate to people what we think should be there with transformation and relevance. All right. Back to what I was mentioning a while ago, no? Sandz, as we pitch, also as we preach to our customers, we also went to what we call a transformation or our take on staying relevant. So from an IT reseller 20 years ago, we became an SI. We tried to implement solutions based on the customer requirements and trying to address a more capex model, implementation and user support. A decade ago, our managing director understands that in order to stay relevant, in order to be able to be more competitive, we implemented what we call managed services. So this is not your traditional managed services wherein we just give you the people and we allow the people's expertise to be able to help you with your day-to-day operations. We treat our managed services very differently. It has to pattern out with certain technological requirements together with our skilled expertise and SLA-driven architecture, which I'll explain later on during my slides. So, in order for us to, again, stay relevant, in order for us to transform, we also transform their businesses, not only in terms of how we deal with businesses, but also how we actually manage our technology stack. So, with the modern enterprise grade or with the modern technologies that are happening right now, Sandz also embarked in this journey called modernization. So, the first two boxes here, the first two sections here, has been our core solutions for the last decade and for the last 20 years, infrastructure and modern data protection. So, that basically complements majority of the tech stack that you need. Infrastructure brings you the compute and the power and the capabilities to be able to launch your applications. But protecting your data and making sure it's secured is another way of securing the whole of the modern enterprise. But as we value modernization and transformation, we added a bit more flavor or a bit more solutions dun sa offerings namin to complement all of the stacks. So we added platforms and applications also in that sense. So why did we decide to go into this journey? As Sandz, we understand that any organization, if we have the best of the infrastructure, but the applications won't be able to follow or to be able to adapt to the ongoing changes in the business requirements or consumer changes, it's going to be very difficult for us just to sell the infrastructure. So we understand that applications, the services that reach your consumers, and the data that goes in and out of the platforms is very, very much important for organizations, even to our customers. Hence, we decided, I think it's about time to venture into this platform solutions together with our partners with VMware, with Tanzu, and with Dell EMC. We were able to complement our existing stack to be able to include platform services or even application and data modernization. So at any point of the layer dito, if you can see, our pitch is always you don't have to start from apps, you don't have to start from platforms or anything. You can start with anything from any one of our solutions, and we can make sure we can complement that on your going business requirements and needs. So you can start with as simple as just an infrastructure. You can grow that, add data protection, backup archiving, and you can even go above and beyond with platforms and even try to re-engineer some of your applications to complement your core services. We can actually help you do that, right? To the next slide. Sorry. Switch. All right. So going to the discussion and just setting the tone for the discussions from Bert and from Justin later on. Our modernization framework falls under three main key areas: build, run, and manage. So number one is build. We provide you, Sandz provides you with a secured, protected infrastructure, whether that be a traditional capex models or our 100% subscription model for infrastructure as a services. We can offer that to you in an instant. We also provide you with multi-cloud strategies, regardless if you want to be able to do private cloud, want to be able to do on-prem, or want to be able to do public, or even eventually you want to be able to do a hybrid approach. We can help you build that infrastructures and platform from the ground up. And of course, third on the list on the build platform is trying to integrate what we call the DevOps practice. I'm pretty much sure for people in the call today, DevOps has been a buzzword um, for everyone here. I'm sure organizations are also trying to adapt this DevOps strategy, trying to combine both on operations standpoint and development perspective. So with DevOps integration in mind, we wanted to make sure that all of our platforms, all of our infrastructure, and all of our services are aligned into what we call a hybrid approach. So whether you're a developer or whether you want to focus on development works or you want to be able to focus on the operational standpoints, we can actually help with that with our frameworks along the way. Second on the list is run. So of course, after building the infrastructure and building the core layers or the core foundations of what you need to be able to build the services on top, we help you run those services on top of that infrastructure, regardless if sa amin ang galing or if it was acquired or it was already existing. So we help you provide with what we call a platform as a service, complementing that with our concept of a stateless and serverless infrastructure. Again, going back to the build framework wherein we treat all of our platforms as a multi-cloud standpoint, wherein our focus is to make sure your applications run regardless of state or regardless of which server or which architecture running on-prem, on cloud, hybrid. We make sure that those runs. And to complement that, we provide you also with the capabilities for data services such as spinning off your database requirements, migrating those databases to a more open source platforms, and migrating those to other sources of data that you want to be able to stay relevant. And fourth, on the platform, of course, we help you re-platform, redesign, and re-architect your services, whether that services be your application, your data, your platform, or even your infrastructure. Okay, last on the list, after we provide you with the frameworks and help you run those, at the end of the day, our services allows us to help you manage all of this. No? So we just don't deliver this to you and then let you manage it for yourselves until such time that you are subscribed to our services. We're 100% sure we're going to be together with you in your modernization journey. We'll help you provide anything with our SLA driven approach, with our consulting services, and what we also offer as what we call a DevOps as a service. And we add that with end-to-end observability to make sure that we help you manage not only your application performance, your requirements, your business cases, but also to help you manage your infrastructures and platforms that we have you built also. Right? So again, going to the digital journey or going to modernization. Again, we can help you start your digital journey towards any of the aspects that you need. If you want to start with your infrastructure, we can help you also with that one. We can, if you want to start with modernizing your data protections, you can also consider that. And going to platforms, data, and even applications. So this journey you can start at anywhere, at any point, at any requirements. So Sandz can actually help you towards those modernization strategies. So you have here in the call our subject matter experts also from Dell EMC and VMware to be able to help us understand some of the underlying technologies here during this morning session. And for if you have any questions in terms of how Sandz can help you with these modernization platforms or modernization journey, please feel free to ask questions after the call. Okay, Jalai, thank you.
Thank you, Ken. As part of Sand's team, I also see how important it is to modernize our approach to technology because it does help and enable our clients in keeping up with the changing business environments. So it's good to know that and share that Sand Solutions can be your trusted partner for your modernization journey, regardless of whatever you are on that journey. Okay, so now we take a quiz break to give out a few prizes to our participants. The mechanics are simple. We'll be asking a total of 3 questions based on what Ken just presented. The first one to submit the correct answer or just a letter of the correct answer in the chat box will get a gift voucher from Sandz Solutions Philippines. We will place a marker after every question so we can easily track the answers. Kindly launch the chat box and make sure you are addressing it to everyone. Okay. Are you guys ready? For our first question, okay, what is the name of Sand's services offering? A, staff augmentation services. B, network cabling. C, managed services. D, none of the above. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The correct answer is the first one to get it right. The correct answer is C, managed services. Okay, congratulations, Mr. Michael Palmiano. You got it right. Okay, question number 2, marker. Okay, for our next question, which among the solutions below is SAN's response to modernizing servers and storage? A, infrastructure security. B, new infrastructure. C, hyperconverged infrastructure. D, infrastructure modernization. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The correct answer is D, infrastructure modernization. Okay, let's see who got it right. Question number 2. Congratulations, Mr. Joreen. Bagay, bagay. Congratulations, Sir Joreen. You got it right. Okay, for our question number 3. Okay, there's the marker. Provide SAN's 3-step approach to application modernization. A, destroy, build, operate. B, build, build, build. C, run, operate, maintain. And D, build, run, manage. In 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, the correct answer is D. Build, run, manage. Kala ko build, build, build. Okay, who got it right? Congratulations, Mr. Reginaldo Linang. Okay, you got the third question. Congratulations to our winners. Please expect an email or call from our marketing team regarding your prizes. We will still have 2 more quiz breaks and, of course, the raffle draw at the end of the event, so please stay tuned. Reminder to everyone, if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them on the chat box and we'll get to them during the Q&A portion. You can also send them privately to any of the hosts or to me. Okay? From one technology expert to another, I'll hand you over to Mr. Bert Lim of VMware Tanzu for simplifying Kubernetes. Go ahead, Bert.
Yeah. Hi, good morning, everyone. So hi, my name is Bert. I'm actually based here in Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia. So, nice to be virtually traveling over to see every one of you. So today, I'm just going to talk a bit more about, Kubernetes and, VMware's offering called Tanzu. And why is this important, in the economy today, and why are so many customers looking at it? So I think let's just start off simply. What is Kubernetes? It's a word I'm sure we've all heard about it for the last, 4 to 5 years. It's been such a, a hot topic. Everyone's been talking about it. So officially, the definition from Kubernetes is saying that it's a portable, extensible, open source platform for managing containerized workloads and services, right? And another word that you will hear a lot about related to Kubernetes is containers or Dockers. So containers is a technology, Dockers is actually a product. But what containers is a set of platform and service products that use OS level virtualization to deliver software packages. All right. So um, in short, what it does is that it virtualizes the application and for you to manage it. But rather than having the wordy version, I thought of I just simplify for everyone. I think firstly, everyone is familiar with virtualization, right? Whereas virtualization is we will run multiple servers or OS instances on a single physical server. All right, VMware is at the forefront of that. And now when we come to it is that for containers is how you run multiple software instances on a single operating system or a single OS, right? And Kubernetes is the solution to manage all these multiple containers, okay? Because I think, coming from, an IT background, all of us, we all know when you're managing, let's say your own personal laptop, just one laptop, yeah, it's really easy to manage. When you're managing maybe, 10 servers, it's still manageable. But when you start hitting like, like 50 or 100 servers, it starts to get difficult to manage. When it comes down to containers, what will happen is that instead of managing hundreds of containers, it's highly likely you will be managing thousands of containers or tens of thousands of containers, right? So by not having any tools to do that is going to be really, really, really difficult to do it. Okay. So another point about containers and Kubernetes, a very common short form that people use for Kubernetes is K8. All right, so well, I don't know why, but the developers use it. So if you're reading up online and they mention K8, it's actually referring to Kubernetes. Um, so pretty much nearly all Kubernetes or container solutions are open source, which means that your support comes from google.com, from forums, from GitHub repositories, to read up and contact the developers. So what Tanzu is Tanzu is a VMware's paid version that comes with an enterprise level support, meaning you can call up the help desk. It's a 24/7 support. You can call them up whenever required, and they will help you with resolving any issues that you have with the Tanzu platform itself. Right. So the next thing that I want to talk and share about is that why is the whole world into Kubernetes? Like here in Malaysia, it's actually quite a hot topic at this moment. A lot of my customers are looking into Kubernetes, exploring Kubernetes, and a number of them have actually already implemented Kubernetes and have gotten their development teams to modernize their applications onto Kubernetes, right? So developers are looking at Kubernetes because I think number one, they find containers and microservices much more convenient for them to develop on, right? What I mean by that is that rather than having to have a server or multiple servers in the data center to connect it to a server in the cloud or whatever to run their development, they can actually run all the programming, run all the development, code whatever is required, and test it out on their laptops themselves. All right. So I think that's number one thing that you notice. The second thing is that as we move towards multiple clouds, right? Um, Cloud, in my personal opinion, cloud is the future, and cloud is going to be here for the foreseeable future. All right. And what is happening is we see customers always evaluating different clouds, whether they will want to run the on-prem cloud, on VMware. Are they going to use Azure? Are they going to use AWS? Are they going to use Google, Ali Cloud, Oracle Cloud? Everyone is looking at and evaluating, and many are running on multiple clouds. However, the thing that I think a lot of cloud companies do not share is that there are a lot of proprietary APIs and a lot of proprietary technology or proprietary access that they have for each of the cloud. So what that means is that if you develop heavily on one cloud, it will be very hard to port your application or your infrastructure across to another cloud. So this is where Kubernetes comes in. It comes in as a level playing field, rather that everyone is a common language whereby if you're running on Kubernetes, no matter which Kubernetes you subscribe to or on what cloud, you are able to move your workloads between them easily, right? The only things that you may need to change is your network settings in order for your network connectivity and your security, but that's it. And Kubernetes actually does come in with a lot of orchestration tools because, like what I mentioned earlier, you will be managing, thousands and tens of thousands of containers. If you're unable to orchestrate the updates, you're unable to orchestrate, rolling upgrades, to all your containers, there's no way that you can update them manually, within a reasonable amount of time. By the time you start updating it and before you're able to finish, the next update will have come in and you probably need to re-update everything. So orchestration is really important. But then here's a question, right? Why are so many customers not moving to containers yet? We from first a consulting study, 78% of customers say that improving application priority is a portfolio is a top priority. We want to modernize it, right? But yet 48% of them have not made any improvements in the past 1 year. So when we ask them why have you not moved? The top three answers is, the first one is that it's very hard for them to know what platform to use, matching best platform. They just don't know what to use. The second thing is they just do not know how to scale. Like after I choose my platform, how do I grow my platform as my business grows? They really have no idea. And the third and most common, I would say personally, the most common reason is they are too invested in legacy apps, and that they are too worried that by tweaking it or changing it would cause impact to the business. So they're too invested in legacy apps to change. But this is still not stopping modern CIOs from relooking into how can they adopt containers in order to modernize and simplify their future workloads. So where Tanzu comes in is that it isn't that easy in order to look at getting, going on board onto the container bandwagon, right? Onto the Kubernetes bandwagon. It's not that easy. So this is a snapshot. This is a picture from the CNCF, the Cloud Native Computing Foundation, right? Just talking, I think this is about 1 year old. So this is actually just talking about from a framework and the ecosystem perspective, what are the solutions available, from Kubernetes or, from running a container from a platform perspective, from a monitoring, observability, what they call it, monitoring, from a database, from scheduling, orchestration, from a runtime perspective, and so on. As you can see, there's a lot of boxes. So what that means is that when it comes down towards choosing your container framework, the framework for that you believe would benefit you the most, you have too many choices. And the choices will always depend on what the developers are comfortable with. But the main thing where Tanzu operates is Tanzu operates in helping customers standardize on the platform, the platform perspective. It helps you standardize on your storage, which is the other important thing. And it also has standards for the container registry, for the monitoring, the observability and logging. So what it does is that it allows customers to get a head start and jumpstart in getting their internal, your internal container platform and framework up and running very quickly. All right. So Tanzu focuses on what matters most, right? So number one, Tanzu is open source aligned. Open source aligned is what it means is that we will follow the base image of the latest Kubernetes published Kubernetes runtimes, right? So that is important because that allows you to have consistency across the clouds, because all clouds will support the basic image that was published by the Kubernetes foundations. And Tanzu gives the developers the self-service capability, so that you can just set guidelines and policies for them and set them free. They will just run, and they will run within the boundaries that were set to them. For example, like what roles are they allowed, from a security perspective, how much resources can each one of them utilize, so that someone doesn't accidentally run something that takes up the whole cluster and crashes everything else. Those are very important. And these matters because you allow the developers to do it themselves. You allow them to write the code once and run it anywhere, and the same commands and the same scripts that they create for the automation and for the development is the same no matter whether it's on-prem, off-prem, a new cloud that you want to use. If you want to port it off to a new customer or a different site, it's all the same. There is no major re-engineering required in order to get it up and running. So as I mentioned, VMware Tanzu is VMware's solution to help our customers run Kubernetes, right? So there are a few ways to adopt Tanzu, and there are actually many different modules within the whole Tanzu portfolio. So of course, if you're just looking at just adopting Kubernetes on-prem, as a start to develop and test, you can go with vSphere 7 with Tanzu Basic. So the advantage of why it runs off vSphere is that instead of having to run, a lot of my customers here in Malaysia, what they do is they will run a Linux machine off the virtualized environment, and then install Kubernetes onto that Linux machine and run it. So what happens is then you will have a two-layer of management. You'll manage your VM environment, and you'll manage your Linux machine as well. Whereas if you were to whereas with Tanzu is that we eliminate the need of the Linux host, the Linux virtual machine, and all the containers and container management and containers clusters is created and run off the ESXi kernel, the vSphere kernel itself, right? So that simplifies a lot of around the deployment, and it also comes with a lot of the built-in scripts for upgrades and expansion, right? So if you need more resources, add in additional server, and add it into the cluster, and you'll be able to immediately migrate your workloads off into the new server that was added in. So after Tanzu Basic, if there is a need to run Tanzu everywhere, meaning on-prem or in the cloud, there is what is called, we have the Tanzu standard bundle, which has additional connections and connectivity to cloud solutions and to the cloud services. Or if there is a need for full self-service, whereby with application catalogs and full integration with the network communications. So we will also have a Tanzu Kubernetes Grid Edition as well. Then as what we mentioned, managing monitoring is very important. So we have Tanzu Mission Control, which is able to integrate with not only the Tanzu on-prem, but also with all the Kubernetes solutions on the cloud, like from Azure, from Google, from AWS, and even Ali Cloud. is able to integrate and manage it, and also monitor and allow the administrators to manage it all remotely from one central console. So not only that, Tanzu also has additional services whereby if the developers, this is actually to help the developers, whereby we have the application catalogs with a lot of libraries, pre-built libraries that allows the developers to get a quick head start. We have the build services, also known as previously as the Pivotal Cloud Foundry. So the build services allows developers to easily script and code and push the deployments of containers to any cloud that is configured. Then lastly, around the application service and observability to give developers an application platform, and of course, in order to monitor, manage, and log, and to gain the insights from all your container utilizations. Right. A keynote that I always share with my customers here is that it doesn't matter, currently in all IT and virtualized environments, we always talk about, oh, we need a new server for a project, we need a new virtual machine for a project, we need 10 virtual machines for a project. But how many customers actually do look into the actual utilization after the project has been deployed, right? Are you over provisioned? Are you under provisioned? Do you really have the resources, or do you really need all that many resources to run those applications? So I always stress very heavily that things like vRealize operations, and things like Tanzu observability, these are very important for all environments, because you need to understand how you're using your environments, how you're using your resources to actually get a better grip on how you're controlling your IT environment. Okay. Right. So next, I just wanted to share around how we've actually developed Tanzu is that Tanzu is actually structured around critical capabilities. From the application perspective, which is more towards the developer experience, where the developers will look at how do they code, how do we make sure the necessary framework and modules are available, and for them to easily deploy and to upgrade their applications. And also from the infrastructure side, the infrastructure side, the IT infra guy is that, hey, with everything moving to containers, okay, how do I manage and know my actual cluster utilization, the requirements, the resources being used? Do I have additional resources? Do I need to look into expanding my cluster, buying more servers, buying more compute power? These would then fall back to the IT operators, IT admins, right, in order to continue and to monitor and to make such decisions, right? And more importantly, one key thing, although it's already mentioned here, that Tanzu helps is to help standardize your security posture. The reason why is that if you're running on-prem and you're running in the cloud, how sure are you that your containers have the correct security patches? Do they have the correct security settings, right? How do you ensure that? So using things like Pivotal Cloud Foundry, our Tanzu build services, it allows to help simplify and standardize it. So it helps to minimize developer mistakes. So I think the last few things I want to share is Tanzu is a comprehensive stack to help customers modernize applications, right? It starts off with the running meaning your platform, right? You can start off, as I mentioned, you can start with Tanzu Kubernetes Basic or Tanzu Standard in order for you to just have a platform to start developing on. And as you gain more and more experience with containers, you will then you will then actually be able to try out all the additional modules like the service mesh. The my favorite is actually the mission control. Being able to manage and monitor Tanzu across all the different clouds. To me, that is probably the best product around here, right? And then, you can even try things out like the build services, the application services to help simplify and speed up the development of developers. So keep in mind, Tanzu is not just to help you run, but also to help simplify how you build and modernize your applications as well. So a few things just wanted to mention, when it comes down to Tanzu application catalog and Tanzu Kubernetes, great. What it does is that it helps you to manage it end to end, right? From all your open source items to your customized items that is required. All right. So I'm going to end it on with three things to remember. Okay. Everyone can build your own framework. Everything is available online, right? You can download the open source Kubernetes from the Kubernetes Foundation. You can go and download Graphene. Grafana is probably the number one most common standard. You can download Grafana and integrate it. You can download the ELK stack and integrate it. But what happens with that is it is self-support. If you do have a problem, as I mentioned earlier, google.com is your friend. You have to use Google to go and search for an answer, or talk to the GitHub and the developers on how do you fix it. Second thing to keep in mind is that containers are upcoming. Even if you're not looking into containers today, do keep in mind that containers is going to become the upcoming standard. What we call the commercial off-the-shelf software. Commercial off-the-shelf software meaning things like Microsoft SQL, Oracle databases, things like SAS, SAP. All these companies are looking at containers and how can they adopt containers to simplify and also to improve the performance of their applications, right? I won't be surprised. Sooner or later, there will be containerized versions of all the software, all the common softwares that we are using in our data center. Right? And the third thing, just to remind everyone that Tanzu follows industry standards and it offers enterprise support. So to me, these are two key things, is because you must have everything. If you adopt a solution with a proprietary standard, right? How are you going to be able to, ensure that it's portable, ensure it's transferable to different clouds? It may work today, but what if the company, decides to go down another fork? To fork off the development and go down their own path and make it proprietary. Will it be too late for you to decide to port out of that software onto another platform, and before it becomes too proprietary? And more importantly is that Tanzu offers enterprise support. As we move forward to, like I said, as containers become more and more mainstream, it will run more and more critical business applications, right? It will run more it will run your key business applications, your key business databases possibly in the future. So having support helps you to mitigate the risk when something goes wrong, and to help you get up and running much faster. Okay. So that is all I have to share with everyone today. Please do ask any questions. If you have any questions, please feel free to raise it up. Or if not, please feel free to reach out to your Sandz account manager, and they'll be able to get in touch with me, and we can arrange for a separate call and discussion after this. All right. Okay. Thanks everyone. Back to you, Angela.
Thank you, Bert, for that very informative presentation. Okay, the journey to modernization is not entirely easy, but it's good to know that we have platforms such as VMware Tanzu to help our clients transition with their application modernization portfolio. Okay, so we are about to give away another round of prizes. I hope you really listened well to Bert's presentation. Okay, the mechanics are simple. We'll be asking a total of 3 questions based on what Bert just presented. The first one to submit the correct answer or just a letter of the correct answer in the chat box will get a gift voucher from Sandz Solutions Philippines. Okay, so launch your chat box and make sure it is placed on everyone. And we'll put a marker for our question number 1. Marker, please. Okay, first question. What is the name of VMware's Kubernetes solution? A. NSX, B. Tanzu, C. Wavefront, D. AVI or AVI. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, the correct answer is B. Tanzu. Okay, who got it right? Mukhang everyone got it right. But the first one is Rayanne Rodriguez. Congratulations, Rayanne Rodriguez. Okay, for our next question. Tanzu Mission Control allows your centralized management of Kubernetes clusters. Is it yes or no? In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The correct answer is okay, yes. Okay, you got it right. Let me see. Congratulations, John Baring. Congratulations, John. Okay, for our last question for this round. Okay, where is Bert from? A. Singapore, B. Malaysia, C. Indonesia, D. Thailand. Okay, let's see. Question number 3. Okay, the correct answer is B. Malaysia. Congratulations, Kenneth Go. You got it right, Kenneth. Okay. So congratulations to our winners. Please expect an email or call from our marketing team regarding your prizes. We will have another more quiz break and of course the raffle draw at the end of the event. So please stay tuned. Reminder to everyone, if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them on the chat box and we'll address them during the Q&A portion. You can also send them privately to any of the hosts. Okay, let's do a quick recap. We've covered how organizations can establish a future-ready businesses through IT modernization and how VMware can simplify it with Tanzu. For this to all work together, we can't miss out having a reliable infrastructure to support all of these. To discuss such, I'll hand you over to Justin Salvador. Okay, Justin, take it away.
Thank you, Angela. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for your time, to have this event with us. Let me just share my screen. Yeah, so I hope you can see my screen well. So for my side of the story, of course, as Angela mentioned, we can't have all of this without the level of infrastructure that we have. So my goal for today is really to share with you the advantages of our portfolio, bundled and partnered with the technologies of the infrastructure software, that we've discussed earlier, which is VMware. Okay. So again, my name is Justin. I'm part of the data center and compute solutions of Dell Technologies. Yeah, I'm based in the Philippines, and we primarily focus on these technologies revolving around compute solutions, and of course that involves VMware. So actually today we're introducing this next generation of server technologies, and we're actually the first to market these Intel and latest Intel and AMD platforms that we have, and we've expanded the entire portfolio to really uh, flexibly configure our solutions and tailor fit them to your requirements as needed. So this is just a brief introduction, but really I want to start with a really standard view of what comes out of our Dell Technologies story, right? This fundamentally declares that today's work conditions really remains unprecedented, right? And also the problems have not changed as well. Even despite the pandemic, we still have these common challenges of over and under provisioning. Most you We heard this a lot, that there are capex growth or capex budget strains in the pandemic. Lack of human resources, to handle IT operations, and of course cloud complexity as well. And all of these problems are still there. Really, what's coming out of this is that uh, IT departments that we speak to, they understand that they need to focus, no, continue to focus and drive more value for the organization. And value is really an interesting conversation. And what really drives value for organizations today is we see them in three areas, and how our portfolio be of uh, will be of relevance on that side of the story. Is that first we see operations, and operations is key, when IT wants to modernize. Operations is, in short, being able to deliver resources on demand, right? There should not be delays, that can uh, break critical transformation projects for an organization. There should not be delays that will impact the value chains at the side of operations. And operations today is all about automation. It's all about the need for automation for data center equipment, no? Automation for the growth in terms of capacity, and also simplifying the overall IT infrastructure. No, there should be uh, a faster way to deliver resources, deliver services on demand. Okay, and cloud as well. No, most especially during the pandemic. There's cloud. Everyone sees the value in the cloud as a resource, right? Um, uh, they leverage on cloud simply because they can rapidly deploy. They can leverage on services with limitless scale. But we understand that islands of clouds, if you manage them separately, if we manage them with different sets of operations, it could have an extremely uh, uh, inefficient environment. It will just add more complexity to IT. No? And according to IDC, majority of organizations today will have this mandate to support that hybrid cloud environment, right? Now, this means that organizations will see the value in both public and as well as private cloud. And what they want to do there is they want to pull the operations together. So they want to have a common set of operations regardless of where their workloads are sitting on. If it's sitting on their private cloud or if it's sitting there in the public cloud. And that's where they will get to drive more value out of this cloud resource. And it's not about embracing cloud as a destination, but really have it as an operating model, across a hybrid environment. So an efficiently uh, designed infrastructure, no, of hybrid environments has that common virtualized and containerized infrastructure, and they have those common operating experience, regardless of where that infrastructure is. And it's all because of these modern workloads, this modernization, not only in the infrastructure, but also as how we develop, deploy, our workloads. No? These new or modern workloads will require new levels of performance, new levels of scalability, resiliency, and only modern infrastructure can provide this. No? Most especially on how we integrate new technologies in AI and edge. So COVID really crystallized the need for change, as far as operations and as far as how we prepare our infrastructure for this. No? The level of automation that we wanted our customers to have was not really implemented on their side, right? And they realized that they still had these few operations that they needed to do on-prem or they needed to go on-site, despite the situation. Organizations want to leverage their infrastructure the same way as how they leverage their cloud resources. No, they want the the simplicity of just swiping their credit card to acquire a service. No, they want the same level of experience in their private infrastructure. Okay, and uh, what organizations basically need to do is they need to deliver IT with the agility of cloud. No? They need to be able to have those cloud-like capabilities, that cloud-like agility within the data center, okay, for their most critical applications. No? And the two overarching desired infrastructure outcomes that we have is, number one, we should have that modernized data center. So a modernized data center simply has uh, the technology. Not only it will provide performance, but will be able to support workloads, run workloads, not only in a performing infrastructure, but in a safe infrastructure, in a validated infrastructure. And have that level of automation, that right level of automation that we need in order to enable operations, to focus more on consuming workloads and consuming services, rather than spending time in just building and maintaining infrastructure. Okay. And second, hybrid cloud acceleration. No? Hybrid cloud acceleration is all about having consistent, virtualized or containerized infrastructure, no, and also and ultimately a consistent cloud operating model, having that infrastructure as a service like model, across data centers and cloud. So we see these things happening from our portfolio of PowerEdge, no, of how servers just being servers, and how our servers converts into technologies like software-defined data centers, no, converged infrastructure and hyper-converged infrastructure that truly enables that modern data center and that hybrid cloud acceleration. So we really say that we push our customers ahead with our solutions, most especially PowerEdge as the enabler of that modern infrastructure. We say that as Dell Technologies, we empower our organizations to take full advantage of latest technologies. That's not only the latest generations, the latest components, but be able to leverage technology as a safe environment for your workloads. Okay. Second is that make steps toward full infrastructure automation. So there are different levels of automation in Dell. No? There's a partial automation all the way to full automation, and we enable organizations to have that right set of tools in order to automate all of those repetitive and time-consuming tasks. Okay, that revolves around your infrastructure and your VMware environment. Okay, and actually that automation, those tools and software that simplifies and provides efficiency with operations. No? By letting software run the infrastructure, manage the infrastructure, no, we create a third pillar that we call security, no? A secure environment. No? Simply because we make operations programmable, we make processes automated, no? And we have these tools that can monitor the different states of our infrastructure. So there's confidence in that. There's uh, uh, a level of confidence that we can achieve with having those automation tools to protect the infrastructure. So it goes around the overall theme of having PowerEdge as the competitive advantage, with your VMware environments. No? It revolves around three pillars of being able to flexibly design and scale your infrastructure, okay? Automate operations, no? And simplify the life cycle management, no? Of your both physical, virtual, or hardware and software operations. And again, as you automate and provide consistency across physical and virtual environments, no, you also secure or protect, no, your infrastructure from threats, no, from the chip of the firmware all the way to the virtual machine, all the way to cloud native applications, and uh, having that end-to-end secure environment from hardware to software. Okay, so in this uh, environment that we're building with VMware, no, this is where industry leaders comes into play. No? As the industry leaders in x86 server environments, and as the leader in enterprise virtualization, hyperconverged infrastructure, we are able to achieve, all of these outcomes that we want to have in our uh, 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 current infrastructure that we have. Okay. So as Dell Technologies, and as well as our close partnership with VMware, we provide that complete stack of VMware software. The technologies of VMware that revolves around edge, core, and as well as cloud. Okay, we bring them all together as a complete stack of both hardware and software. So VMware brings us the virtualization with VMware vSphere, with Tanzu. We help modernize and simplify infrastructure using their software-defined storage, such as VMware vSAN. We enhance networking and security with NSX. And what completes the entire stack of edge, core, and cloud is basically the VMware Cloud Foundation. So to help manage, no, both x86 and software, we offer an aligned tool set that streamlines operations, and generates new efficiencies and saves valuable time. So working together, we provide integrated solutions that will help organizations flexibly architect and scale, and automate and empower, and as well as protect your hybrid cloud environment. So in Dell Technologies and VMware, that's one family of software-defined data center or infrastructure solutions. We have leading uh, SDDC portfolio components like the server, the converged and hyper-converged infrastructure, no? Public and private cloud IT infrastructure, and as well as storage, that is closely uh, validated and designed to run on VMware environments. Okay? So the portfolio is a very broad set of solutions designed with more than 2 decades worth of partnership that truly understands and uh, uh, purpose built for these VMware environments that we have. Okay. And as we know, running modern infrastructure and of course running VMware on top of them, the optimal or the modern way to run these VMware environments is running them on top of HCI or vSAN environments. So I want to talk about as well as how we unify security and support, as how we unify operations, with VMware. So you know that as Dell, we have this broad set of solutions to simplify operations. But really, the operations doesn't stop at the infrastructure, at the hardware side. No? We have different levels of integration as well to our infrastructure software providers. such as VMware. At the heart of this message, or at the our flagship product or solution for systems management is what we call Open Manage. No? Open Manage Enterprise is what we see as the road to IT efficiency. No? It's designed with unifying, simplifying, automating, and securing infrastructures in mind. So unifying is we provide one-to-many management capability. No? We believe that IT departments or admins should be able to have a holistic view of their infrastructure from a single console, no? Regardless of where they're sitting or regardless of physical or virtual components in the data center. Simplifying is having these uh, feature-rich management capabilities. No? And regardless of what form factor of infrastructure we're deploying, no? Regardless if we're deploying different types of form factors of servers like racks, towers, and modulars or blades, no? Storage, networking switches, no? We believe that we should have these management capabilities globally available regardless of the form factor. No? And automation is all about automating the time-consuming or repetitive tasks within the IT process. No, uh, that will provide greater efficiency and will allow IT departments to save more time and uh, allot more time to high-value tasks. Okay, so in automation, simplifying and unifying all of these components in one place. No, again, we secure the life cycle of the infrastructure. No, imagine an infrastructure that can continuously monitor if the infrastructure is in a validated state. No, if it's compliant with the compatibility matrix of VMware and their hardware provider. No, and be able to alert IT departments if they have any non-compliant systems, not only alert, but also to provide uh, action items or how to make those systems compliant again. So that provides a much more secure and robust infrastructure and mitigates risks of threats, no, and unvalidated states. So in Open Manage, we add we have additional context awareness to Open Manage, meaning it can leverage the capabilities of VMware like DRS, no, vMotion, no, maintenance mode, and be able to actually understand that the updates and patches that we are applying to hardware should be aligned to the VMware environment. So if they can leverage the capabilities like DRS, vMotion, and actually be able to orchestrate updates, no, without downtime and actually plan the updates on a per node basis. Now, that's what we call the cluster aware updates on Open Manage. Okay, and the goal of OMIVV, just to shorten the very long name, no? The goal of OMIVV is to unite physical and as well as virtual, not only monitoring but also management. Okay, so it's not just about being able to update firmware, update patches, no, monitor the hardware within vCenter, no, but also to make Open Manage aware of what type of infrastructure it's running. So it can apply those patches and firmware on a correct manner. Okay? So Open Manage is a pool of uh, change management APIs and a lot of integration and connections to different APIs and frameworks, because that's all about full automation, no, of how we can connect our tool with technologies like VMware, no, to add more context to the systems management. There are different consoles as well. So regardless of where you are sitting at, may it be on the on-prem or off-prem, there are different tools or consoles rather that we can deliver to IT, to effectively manage their infrastructure regardless of they're in their terminal, they're on remote, they're on mobile and such. Okay. And uh what Open Manage does is it consolidates, all of the capabilities of these servers. This functionality, these capabilities comes from the built-in iDRAC. And if you're a Dell user, if you're using our PowerEdge servers for a long time, I'm pretty sure you're very much familiar with iDRAC. And this is where the core functionality comes from. And Open Manage unifies or consolidates, all of these capabilities into one uh, uh, systems management console. So OMIVV scales. A VMware environment uses vCenter, as its central administration and virtual element management. So OMIVV bridged the gap between physical and virtual by automating and consolidating PowerEdge server management tasks towards or inside the VMware vCenter console. Okay, so it's a plugin that we Dell dramatically reduces complexity. No, we speed up deployment. No, we minimize risks in IT operations. No, we are able to speed up new server deployment using templates for easy configuration. No, hypervisor deployment. No, we are able to see both physical and virtual server health in one place. No, we're able to apply firmware updates that are managed from vCenter. No, and that goes from applying BIOS firmware and being able to leverage DRS or cluster aware updates, no, for a non-disruptive operations. Okay. So in terms of scalability, an OMIVV appliance, just to clear it out, the OMIVV is a virtual machine. No? It's a simple virtual machine that can scale up to 2,000 hosts, allows you to manage up to 15 vCenters, and that's talking about 15 parallel cluster-aware firmware updates, that can be scheduled and deployed simultaneously. Okay. So uh, vSphere Lifecycle Manager will be the one designed to work with OMIVV. That will greatly reduce the operational complexity. It will be designed from day zero and as well as day two tasks. No? It complements the capabilities of OMIVV in terms of handling uh, the lifecycle management of the vSphere host and as well as the clusters that we have. So VLCM or vSphere Lifecycle Management, so it consolidates the number of tools required for software and hardware updates. Okay, and it's important to note, okay, that as long as you're using the 14th generation or later or your latest, no, we can fully support the deployment of this or the integrations of VLCM, along with OMIVB. So it doesn't matter if you're on or off prem. So we have one tool to manage both hardware and software. No, it used to be that you manage hardware, that including firmware, BIOS, drivers, all in one tool, no? And then you manage software in a separate tool, right? No, but with OMIVV, you just go into one thing. Just to clarify that, no, you go into one thing, which is vCenter, and then vSphere Lifecycle Manager will make things go faster and simpler as far as the operation is concerned. Okay. Today, admins use up to 9 different lifecycle management tools, no? Even just for VMware. No? And we know that's operationally inefficient if we go into one console to another just to do an operation. Okay. And admins still need to monitor the environment for drifts and changes in order to be compliant or maintain compliance, right? So we take away that time. So we take away that time that can be dedicated to higher level tasks and bring more value, to these uh, other priorities of ID departments. So security and services, we defined proactive resilience as systems and software, that's designed for secure interactions. No? It's the capability to anticipate potential threats. No? We have these tools and software I mentioned that can give us this capability. No? So what I mean by this is we have built-in protection, and we have that globally available across the portfolio. No? It starts from the silicon root of trust to supply chain, all the way to asset retirement of our infrastructure. Okay, so we've introduced this proactive resilience, and why we should care is that first and foremost we should believe that proactive resilience should be a priority as well. It should be a priority across the entire transformation journey of any organization. The privacy, cybersecurity barrier should be a number one concern for any digital transformation. No, we should be able to trust that the server is secure, before we even turn it on. No, we should be able to stay protected, around the entire life cycle of our infrastructure, and be able to outmaneuver threats, be able to detect and as well as recover if our infrastructure has been impacted by threats. So when coupled with VMware, coupled with our servers, it provides a much more uh, secure environment and a much more resilient infrastructure. So the levels of security that we have goes into the IDRAC component. Okay, and from from protected access like 2FA, from physical level access like chassis intrusion detection, and the most valuable component of being able to continuously monitor for drifts and change and be able to maintain compliance throughout the life cycle of the system are all a top priority when it comes to proactive resilience. So our solutions with PowerEdge and as well as VMware is fully supported by our end-to-end service. So from consulting, deployment, support, and as well as education to help with certifications and also to provide trainings, to new environments. These are all uh, accelerators of how we can achieve this modernized infrastructure. Our Pro Support Plus, is our proactive and predictive support, that we leverage for critical systems running VMware applications. The benefits of this is we get to leverage our Dell and VMware engineers, no? Uh, have insights, so the proactive and predictive issue detection, okay, and be fully supported end to end on physical and virtual environments. Okay, and if we have any third-party software, Pro Support Plus allows us to leverage the third-party software support. So hypervisor, operating systems, if it was uh, uh, acquired separately away from Dell, it's also part of the Pro Support Plus for enterprise. Okay. So basically, when you partner with PowerEdge and VMware to go hybrid, No, you can take the advantage of the benefits of cloud while still maintaining security and control. So if this is done properly, if you can get there in a simple and in a flexible manner, you create a foundation that works for IT. No, no two clouds are alike. No, we make sure that yours will be designed to meet both business and IT requirements, and ensure that we cover all bases with modernization, automation, added security, and services. So not only to enable what's necessary today, but also to retain your competitive advantage, discover your advantage for today's requirements and tomorrow. So as far as PowerEdge is concerned, so we have an end-to-end solutions that can be deployed in core data centers, edge, branch, no, and as well as our uh, uh, hybrid cloud solutions. And all of this are managed by a single tool, no, in a full in a broad portfolio of management systems. So I end my presentation again with this slide, which basically shows the depth of our solutions with VMware. So everything is in one place, no, as far as our software-defined data center infrastructure and solutions. We build this from our number one portfolio of servers, no, converged, hyper-converged, no, IT infrastructure storage, no, uh, a broad range of vSAN ready node configurations of how we can deliver modern infrastructure for VMware deployments. No, again, our support, no, and our management systems that can simplify operations and unify consoles into a single tool for a truly unified lifecycle management. So with that, that is my last slide. So I'll give it back to the host. Again, thank you everyone and good morning.
Okay, thank you, Justin. Okay, Sandz Solution has been a longtime partner of Dell Technologies, and it's a comfort to us for us to know that with this modernization solutions that we are offering, we have Dell Technologies to support our clients with reliable infrastructure to achieve their business initiatives. Okay, it's the last round of quiz break. I'll make it fast. I know all of you are quite in a hurry now. So we'll be asking a total of 3 questions, the same mechanics. Just launch your chat box and put the right answer to the correct put the correct answer to the questions. Okay. For question number 1, let's put a marker. What do you call Dell Technologies servers? A. Power Edge. B. Power Store. C. Power Max. D. Power Switch. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The correct answer is A. Power Edge. Okay, so the winner who got it right is, again, Mr. John Bareng. Congratulations. Okay, let's go to question number 2. What is the systems management software that unifies, simplify, automate, and secure IT processes? A. Task Manager. B. Open Managed Enterprise. C. Both. D. None of the above. In 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. The correct answer is B. Open Managed Enterprise. Okay, let's see who got it right. Okay, congratulations, Mr. Joreen. Bagay-bagay. Congratulations. Nakadalawa na rin si Sir Joreen, like Sir John kanina. Okay, for our last question, question number 3. What unites PowerEdge and VMware inventory monitoring and updates? A. Open managed integration with VMware Center. B. Open managed integration with Windows Admin Center. C. Open managed mobile. And D. Support assist. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The correct answer is A. Open managed integration with VMware vCenter. Okay, who got it right? Let me see. Okay, again, Mr. Michael Palmiano. Okay, tagdadalawa na sila na prizes. Congratulations to our winners. Please expect an email or call from our marketing team regarding your prizes. Okay, we are now at the tail end of the event, but before we end this morning session, we would like to open the floor for any questions from our participants. Please feel free to type your questions in the chat box and we'll have our technical team answer it. Okay, you can also opt to send your questions privately to us. Okay, there are a few questions sent to us in private. May we call on all the speakers again to answer these questions. Okay, question number 1. Can I launch Tanzu on a non-VMware vSphere environment? I think, Bert, this is for you.
No, so Tanzu only works on vSphere at this point in time. Right.
Okay.
So unfortunately, you must have a vSphere for it.
Okay. Thank you, Bert. Okay, another question sent. Do I need containers to be able to modernize my application and services?
I think end of the day, do you need it? Of course, the answer is no. You still can continue without it. But the point of why, like what I mentioned earlier, why containers are so prevalent and so in demand today is because how it will simplify IT. I mean, number one, the way to modernize it, the speed you can modernize, and more important, how simple will it be to keep your applications updated. So these would be the reasons why customers are actually adopting containerized versus using back the traditional methods of development, right?
Okay. Another question, Bert. Is Tanzu proprietary to Dell servers only?
No. Tanzu is a VMware solution. It will work off any servers, but of course, coming from Dell, we would prefer you run everything on Dell.
Okay. Okay. Another question. Can Sandz Services offer traditional services and not managed services? I think, Ken, this is for you.
Good morning. Yes, we can still offer the traditional services.
Okay. Thank you. And last question that we have is, given Sandz modernization footprint, do I have to start from infra modernization in order for me to modernize my application?
I guess sa akin yan. So, in reality, no, you don't have to start with infra or any. So, if you saw my presentation kanina, you can actually start from anywhere across the modernization requirements. It all depends on what is your priority or what is your strategies at the moment.
Okay, one last question in the chat box. Is OMIVV free tool? I think that Justin, this is for you.
Actually, no, there's a per host license. But to tell you honestly, the cost of the license at list price, I believe, is only $150. So that's a list price, no? And that's still subject to discount. So it's a very minor cost as far as licensing is concerned. So Open Manage is a free tool, but if we need to integrate it to vCenter, there's actually a per host license. So not per CPU, but a per host license. So if you want to look at the
Okay.
pricing, actually it's available in the web. So you'll just have to search with OMIVV licensing, and you'll be able to
Okay.
land the page to show the licensing costs.
Okay, thank you, Justin. So thank you for all your questions. If you would be interested to know more about any of the solutions presented this morning, we can schedule a separate meeting after this event. Our marketing team will get in touch with you shortly. Okay, we are just about to end, but before we let you go, we would like to acknowledge our 3 early bird winners. Okay, do we have their names already? Okay, congratulations to Mr. Joreen Bagay, Lori Jane Brua, and John Baring. Okay, congratulations, sir, and thank you for taking your time to be early for this event. Congratulations, each of you will get a Sandz Dell EMC branded merchandise. Please expect an email or call from our marketing team regarding the delivery of your prizes. Now, the moment you've all been waiting for, the raffle draw. Yee-hee. We based this on the final registration list from our system this exactly 9 a.m. We'll be drawing the name, and when you do get picked, please send an acknowledgement message in the chat box so we know that you are here. Otherwise, we will pick another winner. Are you guys ready? Okay, for our first prize, it's a wireless power bank. Okay, spin it away. Okay, here's our winner. Congratulations, Mr. Jobert Romualdo. So you win the wireless power bank. Okay, thank you. For our next prize, please remove Mr. Jobert. Okay, thank you. Next is a SmartCam 360. Okay, go ahead. Oh, sorry. Is Mr. Jobert here? Sorry. Is Mr. Jobert here? Jobert, are you here? Five. Please acknowledge via the chat box. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, I'm sorry. We will give the first prize, which is the wireless power bank, to Ray Ann Rodriguez. Is Ray Ann here? Please acknowledge via the chat box. Ray Ann. Okay, Ray Ann is here. Congratulations, Ray Ann. You got the wireless power bank. Okay. Next, for our second prize, a SmartCam 360. Albert Gernade or Hernade. Is Albert here? Albert? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, wala. We'll get another winner. Okay. Napakaswerte mo ngayon, sir. Mr. John Bareng, are you still here? In 5, 4. Okay, congratulations, Sir John. Okay, for our winner for wireless Bluetooth earphones. Okay. Okay, Michelle Piopi, are you here? Okay, congratulations to all our winners. Please expect a call from our marketing team in the coming days regarding the delivery of your prizes. Last announcement before we close the session, we will be sending a post-event feedback form after this. Please don't forget to answer it in order for you to stand a chance to win a gift voucher from Sandz Solutions. Alternatively, you can scan the QR code showing on the screen now to access the feedback form and get the chance to win a gift voucher from Sandz Solutions. So please scan it now. Okay. So on behalf of everyone from Sandz Solutions Philippines, Dell Technologies, and VMware, my name is Jelay Fuertes, and I thank you for joining us this morning, and I wish you all a good day ahead. Be safe, and God bless everyone. Have a good day. Thank you.